Please don't forget that you can help support this channel and keep it going whilst also earning cool rewards like early access to content and voting in everything I cover. Check it out, link below. For some reason, I always liked the notion behind this anime, that this is the decider between heaven and hell, or rather hell and being reincarnated, I think, if I recall correctly. But either way, better than a dude with a quill at the pearly gates, you feel me? Shinjiro Aragaki from Persona 3 and Alex Dudley in the Trails games. Saber from Fate! I like this music. It always personally appealed to me and fit the area like a glove. Shockingly, Ash Carbide from the Trails game series too. I always found this OP to be so wildly contrasting with the tone and feel of the show at large, especially at the start though, but it's still a good song and great visuals throughout too. A good way to start the anime in such a weird and confusing fashion. For me, it set a unique tone right from the get-go. Another thing I really appreciated was how most everyone acted in ways I considered to be spot on for realism, looking to escape here, or fits of anger later on, and so on. Obviously later on we learn what exactly is hanging up here, but at this point in time, for a brand new viewer, whoa, that is a good solid nasty looking twist, baby. Again, another pretty realistic approach, I thought. This quite frankly awesome looking scene as the first game pops out of nowhere. Like, you can really tell a lot of time and effort was put into that. Simple win, but no pun intended. It's the simplicity of the scene and the game and the instructions that hooked me at first. Nothing flashy going on, just here's the game, now play. The first time things get friggin' dark, and you know me, I play around in the dark. Meaning it's for me, not literally. Just highlighting that as it's got a very Attack on Titan type of vibe to it, although he didn't do the music for it. Again, another moment which shows the realism of the human brain, where he's more interested in trying to check how they're doing this to them rather than accepting it's magic or whatever. Two back-to-back wins. One, I know I winned him for doing a voice I like, but he really fits the role beautifully in this one. And two, another logical thing happened here, that being getting physical with the guy. Context, he just revealed that you could in theory miss all your darts, causing no pain to her and letting her win the game. And in spite of having watched the anime twice, I forgot about that. If this series does one thing really well, and to be fair, it does many things very well, but it's a saying, get off my back, it's that it really does deliver on natural human emotions like fear. What's interesting is that it's like he knows he's about to give in to fear and throw a dart properly to even out the score, or rather, to put himself ahead, and begins to walk over. And there we have it, plus a nice bit of CGI for an older anime right there too. Touch too long to show, but half the win is because at this stage they're doing a great job of making it look like she missed by accident due to her own pain, and the other is I hate ice stuff. Just a nicely added touch that he's cleaning up the stuff knocked down just now. Another nice twist building up the momentum, baby. It's really well done. And here comes the twist after a nice slight rotating shot too, I gotta say, as it's revealed that clearly more was going on in their past before the crash. The twist. So you're sat there thinking, oh snap, but then there's more to it still, and more even on top of that. Arguably, this is the best part of all the cases, and purely for the twists. Madhouse is so stupidly good at doing this kind of animation, I love it.
では勝ち組のマッチ君に敗北の味を知ってもらうとするか。
町田裕貴、高校時代彼女自分の名前嫌っててね。
マジコ、ちょっと待ってくれ。
Said it before and it's worth saying again at this juncture, the twists are incredibly well done. Considering this was all developed from an original movie, it had some great ideas. You can't call this anything other than a beautiful scene. Just looks like young love and falling in love in general. The music is wonderful too. How he fell so naturally there. There's that fear on display again, even though at this point he's convinced that she was in fact telling him the truth the whole time and he was in the wrong, but fear is fear.
私たちもう死んでるんでしょ。
は？
人間は死後、天国か地獄へ送られることになっています。
And of course, no Wins video would be complete on Death Parade if I ignored the first big reveal. Although easy to figure out, it's still worth that win, of course. How well the scene of the crash is done. Such a great additional example of the stages of grief. This one very much being a case of denial, I would presume. How come the animation is so good though? Was someone watching from up there? I never noticed that before.
私にはね、他に好きな人がいるの。
And here goes another twist that is an absolute whiplash of one. Easily requiring max wins for this piece of animation greatness, and quite early doors in the series no less. That just looked utterly fantastic, smooth as anything, and of course, intense scene. And there's your final reveal of where they ended up going. Her to hell and him to heaven, of sorts I guess. Interestingly, I never noticed before that she looked deeply saddened at the end. I think that's the same music used each time, so easy win for that. It's a genuinely great song, bish bash bosh. Plus, simple but weighty visuals for the now gone couple. Really good.
お疲れさん。
ありがとうございます。
Our first look at two very important characters right there.
最悪。
Nobara from Jujutsu Kaisen.
教えてほしいことがあるんだけど。
Probably the weirdest, non-urgent, non-big deal of doing an end-of-episode cliffhanger.
ねえ、どこに行くの？15階よ。
Getting to see most of the people of importance in the story in one area, but also finding out that our main boy in the first episode isn't actually the only main character. Lore-wise, I adore this part, mixing together modern transport with what looks like an ancient temple of sorts.
お待たせして申し訳ありません。
遅い。
以後気をつけます。
Reading in about 6 of the Trails games. Getting our first proper look at the room as a whole in this really stylish looking scene. Obviously it's like 3 minutes too long to show everything, but take one for going over the basics for themselves of what they do. How it works? Kinda anyway, like getting their memories and so on.
人形よ。デキムの趣味なの。
The reveal of what I mentioned from the first episode. Boom!
今回の主役はあの二人。タカシとマチコよ。
Always found it interesting to see the first episode from their perspective. I think it's the only time they actually do it as well, but I like it.
どうして？
I'm pretty sure that that's the original Doom game's door opening sound effect.
負けたらどうなるんだろう。
Oh, I didn't actually recall that this was revealed in the second episode, and I was feeling super tote smart when I wrote that part in the first one. Oh well, still good to see it revealed.
転生するとその魂は別の人間に宿る。魂は失われて深い闇に落ちている。
Cut a smidge out there in order to fit it in, hopefully, but have to say, learning from the law's point of view, pretty much what heaven and hell actually are.
約束するよ。必ず幸せにするから。俺と結婚してほしい。
It's actually pretty cool that not all of the episode is seeing things we've already witnessed and them speaking about it up there.
きっとそれ一度きりの過ちってやつじゃないかな。お腹の子はたかしさんの子だと私は思う。
嘘。
自分で子供を殺してしまった彼の苦しみを少しでも和らげるためよ。
Max wins, and for a few different reasons. First of all, there was more to the story. As I said, she seemed very sad when she entered the lift. It thus seems likely that she did indeed cheat, but deeply regretted it. Then we have her hunch that the baby was his, and she meant to make him feel less guilty to ending the child's life inside her. This scene really impressed me, and how it expanded the first story whilst also speaking to the complication of human emotion.
自分の気持ち。
なんでわかんないのよ。好きだって気持ちでしょ。
I was going to include this one with the previous, but I felt it should get its own, and it's for him slowly learning from her, and this was just the starting point.
最低者のくせにやすやすと見逃すな。
申し訳ありません。
The point where you both learn that they can make mistakes in doing their job, they're not gods, and that she has some influence over them as shown here. It's subtle but seems obvious that he really feels regret having made a poor decision, or what he thinks may have been one.
やっぱりさっきの訂正
はい。
まだまだだった。
Two more single wins. Firstly, of course, it's this view and the lore that goes along with it. You know I love that stuff. But also, it was likely the final mention and small twist in the first couple's story, as she thinks on it and decides he was never going to be trusting of anyone and it wouldn't lead anywhere good.
生を全うした人間を尊敬しています。今回は最低者として失格です。
Already he proves his learning potential in what I always found to be quite the impactful scene given his seriousness. The first in a long line of, to me, very wholesome moments between them in their little home. That's how I always looked at it anyway. You give me an alternate ED with nice looking visuals and I'll trade you a win, boy. Small detail, but how they're slightly off on their joined bow.
2つ。
これよりお二人にはゲームをしていただきます。
I kinda like how they work together like this at the start too. It's quite cute.
ゲームが終わるまで当店から出ることはできません。
反応しない。
Again, how lame would it be if someone was told this and then was like, okay, let's play a game then?
私自分が誰かもわからなくてすごく怖いです。
Shion from Tenchura. Another cool looking Doom door opening, this time for a spot of bowling.
ああ、
どうしたんですか。
弾が動いた。
You keep on giving me realistic reactions to weird stuff going down and I'll keep giving you wins. Even back then, Madhouse was kinda good at mixing together CGI and hand animation. Like, so good for a normal series.
落ち着け。
やけに早いわ。緊張されているのかしら。
What I liked about this is that just prior he had told them the heart was linked to their pulse, to give it some normality they could actually understand and not be freaked out by. A clever way to link this to the very start of the episode where a young boy, our guy here, and a young girl, seemingly our woman here, parted ways as children.
はい、ありがとうございます。
和やかだわ。たまにはこんなのもいいね。
僕がこのゲームに勝ったら今度デートしてください。
I don't know about all of you, but this really hit me in the heart, just knowing they're already gone. Felt really sad, you know? How How they do the reveals is always so good too. Nothing too over the top. Just enough to make you go, oh, alright then.
昔公園で一緒に遊んでた舞ちゃんと3人で。
やっぱり
These two are so lovely and wholesome, I adore it. But again, so sad that they're gone. I'm getting sad.
いえ、じゃなくて教えなさいよ。
Their budding dynamic too, I really like, especially since this comes straight out of left field for her as a character from what we had seen to date. I 100% forgot that there was some kind of twist between these two. Now I feel even worse. I thought it was Wholesome City, instead it's Plot Twist Avenue.
しげるくん、あのね。
僕とデートする時間をもらえませんか？時間ギリギリまで一緒にいたいんだ。
And there's the wholesome end I recalled for them, and of course a touch more to come thankfully before they depart for good, but yeah, it's very sweet. Good twists as well.
かしこまりました。5分ほどでよろしいでしょうか。
短っ！足りないに決まってんでしょ。
For context, they asked if they can be allowed a date, and this was the outcome at first. Oh man, that really caught me off guard.
すみません、ジョークでございます。時間ギリギリまで楽しんでください。
Already it's like he's learning as he tells his first ever joke here, and then even better, tells them to enjoy their time with one another right up until the last moment. So good. Yep, that one totally snuck a tear out of me in the end.
彼女は千里様ではなく別人です。よろしいんですか？
はい、昔からずっと好きな人がいたんです。私の人生はまだまだ続くから。
高校出て整形したんだって。
Such a great reveal though as well, and what makes it even better is that he kept it to himself to the very end and just let her have that moment between them. And even though it was fairly obvious, it of course needs one for showing they both went to heaven. Same great ED song, but this time amazing visuals which show their date tour that they shared before moving on. It's very sweet and a solid way to end the episode.
だから面白いんでしょ。
Some decent form right there from her, and it makes for a beautiful shot in more ways than one.
お見事です。
Such a cute ending, couldn't ignore that. And also, I forgot how much I like these ending bits too. The music is lovely.
本当に出られない。なんなのよあいつら。
Robin from One Piece.
何なんですかねこれ。
Lecter Arundel from the Trails games.
わかったのよ。これドッキリだわ。
Another logical reaction to what's going on before them. Totally different than the last two as well. Also though, the wallpapering is lovely in there.
実際見ると
何よ。
若く見えます。
What a legendary save right there. It's another super impactful, over-the-top Doom door opening sequence of Doom.
お金のかかった番組ね。
What a great comment.
なんだよ。一体しかいない。
Doing quite the realistic version of a game here.
それではゲームを始めましょう。
A smooth as butter rotating shot.
これでいいわ。
That's quite the anti-anime moment right there. She says, I can use this, and then he beats her. Whereas normally, if someone was to say that, they'd pull out something that might help. The show was already pretty dark from episode 1, I'll grant it that, but this episode certainly helps to push that darker narrative even further.
Lucky.
Interesting that they can do this. I'd also forgotten about this aspect of the story. Always appreciate the small details such as water left on the side of the sink after he washes his face.
人生とは常に不公平なものです。
For clarity, she's freaking out now, having learned that there are no cameras, and was shouting that the game isn't fair as she's not as good as him. But I just thought this part was amazingly tense.
それはあなた様もよくご存知でしょう。
Very apt moment for that comment to have been made. She's hardly had a life that is fair. Just as she's worried she's going to lose, this happens, and it's an oddly very sweet moment. Her children coming through for her when she needed it most, reminding her of what's important. And now you understand the importance of what he was doing. When he did it to the guy, he continued to play. When he did it to her, she literally tried to end him, or at least badly hurt him. At the same time though, she's also not exactly wrong either. Humans are more complicated than this. Near enough anyone could be forced into something with enough stress induced, but yeah, it's good. In the vein of the last win, you then get this moment as she understands what she did, because it was just a moment of extreme stress and being worried about losing the game. Love getting to see these background bits on the characters. He struggled with his father remarrying and was harsh towards her in spite of her doing her best. And then, what makes me emotional is that he tried to end his life, and the person there with him, willing him to live, was her. It's wonderful, really. He was willed to get up and win the match for her, and then just as she had her children help with a big move, he got the same from her. That is brilliant, quite frankly. Their will to live on display, I guess you could say. Seeing how they met their ends makes their will to live and win the game all the more profound. He gave up on life when he had a mother who truly loved him in that home, who he never gave a chance to. She found hers ended with cruelty when a moment of anger led someone to take her life. Now she wants to win for her children, and he wants to win for his stepmother. It's amazing, actually, and they can take max wins for it.
Sachi, 約束破ってごめんね。ママ、今日も帰っ。
Two single wins here as well. Firstly, both of them did an outstanding job voicing their characters. I'm so used to the calm way Robin speaks in One Piece. It was great to hear her in this. And also it felt fitting that it was a draw in the end too. A very natural reaction as we've come to see, and great voice acting too. Plus the motion itself of the run and restraint was what made this moment worth max wins for me. I thought the acting was brilliant there and the story just as good, as she laments finally being in a place where she could really care for all her kids properly, and soon after this happens. In this episode, for me, it's really his feelings that have got to me the most, I think. Yeah, now this is really getting to me too, especially seeing him showing such human emotions for the first time. God, what an amazing episode! Yep, don't care, take another win for that. Ultimately for me, this was the roughest call yet he had to make. It really wasn't clear cut like the others. Other than the first wife, she didn't deserve the void, I don't think. It's hard!
ジミーの家族が新しいお家に引っ越してきました。
Real high quality music in Death Parade, it doesn't overwhelm the scene. You're not likely, unless it's the OP or ED of course, to download it to listen to, but it elevates the scenes for sure. I'll be real, I'm not your typical allegory kind of dude. I don't see a dog wagging its tail in Saving Private Ryan and then decide it's an allusion to the fall of fascism, but I can say, lovely art there. Good to see a little bit of her life behind the scenes as it were, but also to see how different where she's living looks to the main area he works the bar at, for example. Kawaii! Not sure which is more striking, the fact that it's the same visual as her dream, or that it's a literal mechanical thing that could be tampered with.
ですがお迎えは結構です。何か妙です。
Such a simple statement from him, and yet it really stokes the fire of the imagination. Like, oh, what could be going on for him to be saying that?
てな、気をつけろ。おい、どこなんだここ。
Beldia, the headless horseman from Konosuba. He had such a small role, but I'll never get over how damn funny those scenes were in the first season.
なんかおめえ、見覚えがあるんだよな。そうですか。
Certainly makes things odd when he thinks he may have met him before, and also there's sadly a child taking part in the games.
もうそんなですか。
いつもまだペーペーとか言うくせに。
Isaac Plantero! All really stupid jokes aside, love this visual. It's so wild looking. Their entire location outside the bar is actually. That really is nuts. He's definitely been there once before. Shows what a scumbag he is, that this is his first move, but also what a great plot twist I entirely forgot about as well.
神にでも聞けば？
神なんてとっくにいませんよ。
The reason God was brought up isn't important, it's to do with a comment from him during the game, but I wanted to win his words here, because it shows what they're doing isn't quite God level, which you'd think it'd be, but there's more to it.
初めから見えるようにしなければよかったんです。こんな風に。
I enjoyed the telling of the story of the spider's thread lowered in hell to save one man, but all the sinners climbed under him, and then how he related that to restraining him here. What is wrong with my brain? How did I forget this as well? Okay, back to it. That right there is a GLPT, a god level plot twist. In fact, it's good I forgot about it, as otherwise it'd likely have scored one win. Who knows? But yeah, take 2 for max wins. It's so good he knows his name, and not only that, but he's faster than his wires. Whoop! Not fast enough though, boy!
お久しぶりですね。ギンティじゃないですか。
Ah, yeah, right. Now I recall that it's one of their own. Solid twist, man. I gotta give it to them.
最低できなかった客ってそいつだろう。はい。
Casually getting the reason why she's there helping him. I had spaced on that too. I bet you're shocked. But also, Wealth from Danmachi and also Gaius from the Trails game series.
人間だぞ。私は生を全うした人間を尊敬しています。
Right away, this hit me because it's a statement I very much recall as being very important and oft repeated by him. And we're back to forgetting things. I couldn't recall these two ended up fighting. Let's go! This was such a shockingly smooth piece of animation, where he runs through an almost entirely CGI scene that I had to score it max wins, really. This one really got a solid chuckle out of me. Quick one here for the background of how the system works memories-wise.
何？
いえ。
Context. She said the reason why memories are so important is because they're useful in the stress test, to bring out their darkness for judgment, and he recalled this. I thought it was a good way of showing how he's learning about her as a person, but also about the others that he's judging too.
あらゆる正義のせめぎ合いだわ。よく飽きないよね。
Satsuki from Kill the Kill, and by the way, I recently covered it on this channel, and my god, that anime has some of the legit best voice acting I've ever heard, to be honest. Also, take another for seeing yet more behind the scenes action of how this whole thing works. It's wild.
お化けはどこだお化けどこ
Vivi from Vivi Flore Ice Song and Anya in Spy Family.
ここへ座れ。
How different his place looks to the main bar, but also the start of what I recall is quite the unique connection. Plus, reaction there too.
CHA の原田くんじゃない
どうも。
Dazai from Bungo Stray Dogs.
スピナ
これだ。まあ、ルーレットだな。
Oh, I remember this game very well. It's a good one, but safe to say the win is for yet another game. Although it wasn't as cool as in the main bar where everything goes all Doom door opening. Couldn't pick any specific moments during the first stage of the playing of the game, but certainly felt like one should be given for the initial part as we learn about him and also learn why she's quite funny as well.
なんだ嘘だ
Ah, yeah, this is what I remembered happening, plus the cold and everything else. I tell ya, considering it's not taken from a manga, the ideas were really unique that they came up with.
涼しいお
Great voice acting from her, just as I'd expect, but also, of course, Pansor! Oh god, that's horrible. Made me laugh, that. You gotta hand it to the lad, he's rather impressive here when the chips are down. I remembered this part as well, it's so good. Bad for them, but great in general.
私降りる
For clarity, he was a second away from pushing her off the edge before she said this, mainly because she needed to pee and didn't want to do it in front of him, but still.
原田くんがいたから私は頑張ってこれたんです
She comes across as being really shallow at the start of the episode, but by this point you get to see that she too was dealing with her own stuff here, and there was more to her.
原田くんはファンを大事にしてくれる
This clearly hit home as well because of what he was about to do to her in order to win the game. Then of course the truth comes out about him and how reckless he had actually been with his fans, causing one woman to end her own life, but at least we see how badly it affected him.
もうあんな思いは
原田くん
頑張ってこれたのはみんなのおかげなんだまゆちゃんのおかげなんだ
Max wins here between his realization of what he was about to do, the pain he had caused others, and who he owed his life to, and the excellent voice acting and then saving her, it deserves it.
またライブ来てくれよ絶対に
This kind of emotional scene is so far up my street you have no idea. That really got to me, to be honest. Genuinely fantastic voice acting too. Max wins here. Firstly, I can't show it, but her scene in the bath, where she died in the most stupid of ways, and her natural reaction to that, which you see here, and then the surprise non-stabby bit. Oh snap! He slept with the woman's sister who had, you know, taken herself out. And then this gift left for him. Wow!
触んな。
かなごめん
触んなって。
Feels like, if I recall correctly, there's a building dynamic between these three as well, but mainly Gaius and her. But yeah, I really like how it's done in the show.
お前誰だよ。
眉だっつってんでしょ
Him saying that is the height of hilarious to me.
つうか超タイプ
Honestly, it's a very lovely ending for these two, and this only helps that feeling within me. It's a different visual for the ED, and thus, it's a win.
みんなお待たせ
See what I'm saying? How can you witness this at the end of the episode and not give it a big old fat wholesome win? Oh, it's so good. It's my favourite ending to an episode of the whole thing. Chrono, the Swedish Muggle, Marcellus the Roman, Nexus 47, Admiral Nugget, Moody Blues, Cody Tiffany, Timothy Wilcox, Curtis Daniels Jr., Tomo Sandy, Henrik Jensen, Roll Tide West, David Fredericks, Olive Wharf, Furious Mo, Salt Lover, Joker Rims, Rimuru, Gamer Ludwig, Onks Caliph, Donald Newburn, Robert Jackson, Sukomi Aurorum, Starkip, Kai Wolfspring, Dante's Face, Miran Arjian, Cody Niemeyer, Snowy, Sarcastic Truth, Hitter the Wicked, Will Sass, Thrasher 340, Owen Halloran, Extinct Hero, Alexander Schwartz, Dante Soul, Drake's Daughter, Rudies, Dragon Boy 1, Iso, Cameron, Mode of Rim, Tiger Lily Warrior, Knuckle Duster, Otter Ebodonisi, Christian Tarassa, Matthew Barr, Ruby Rose, Commander Cyrus, Cloud Garden, Luis Minito, Brian Bayot, Mini Masher, Garrett Vermeesh, Ryan DeVeries, Dragon Defender, Natsu Dragneel, A Joker XD, Willy Man, Laxor, TRS, Liam Gogati, Kai158, Mr. Firecall, Wacky Normal, Science 44, Lionel Schultz, Kevin Elston, Nozomi, Nick Monaco, Marvin, Satakayari, Devikel, Christopher Willis, Laxus, Michael Lewis, Lazy Joe Beard, CD Mad Gamer, Cecilia, Nick Wyndham, Nuvagown, Guru, Cedric, Kevin 102, Sean, Darth Weirdo, Dragonstorm 35, Cumfroik, Kelnock, Marquez, Q-Flash, Brainless Ben, Oliver Smiley Reacts, Your Edvardson, Kepan, Kyle Jones, Peter Milligan, John, The Element Taylor Wars, Amadillo, Nick Pell, Orekeeper, The Epic Commander, Jason Davies, Likely Winter, Matthew Blancett, Oscar I. Lopez, Juffa 6263, Storm 970, Isel Caldera, Kevin Nauta, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Dan, Ali 50, Bird Without a Word, Chris Harris, 9028, Headshot Hunter, Brandon Creer.